It's here today. Julie and Milo show is coming your way on Passive.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Julie and Milo show. Today is March 15th, 2021. My name is Julie. I'm coming to you from Newport Coast, California. My dear friend, Milo. Milo, could you please say hello?
Hey, how you guys doing? It's Milo from Nashville, Tennessee.
Thank you, Milo. Milo, you and I have known each other for about 3 years? The Julie and Milo show started in December 4th. And every single day when we wake up since that day, we talk about On Passive. We are such blessed people. We sit in our home and we talk to people across the globe. On Passive is an artificial, intelligent information technology, and it all started with Mr. Ash Moffart. Behind On Passive is a community of people. When we gather together, we are so passionate about sharing the vision of Mr. Ash Moffart. Today, in a holding room, we do have a special guest, a guest that we came to learn from Dr. Bill Williams. And without further ado, Milo, I'd like you to introduce our guest.
Julie, we are so excited. We've been looking forward to this meeting for a while. This is a founder that comes to us that has just met with Mr. Ash Moffart, and we're excited to talk to him today. So with no further ado, I'd like to bring to the stage Dr. Shah. Dr. Shah, come on out. Hey,
Hi there.
Shah.
Hey.
So good to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hello, Dr. Shah. Good to see you. Thank you for coming on to our show.
It's an honor to have you.
Dr. Shah, so we love, me and Julie say we're the most blessed people in the world. We get to talk to founders every day, incredible founders, and just like you, and I know that people want to know more about Dr. Shah. Who is Dr. Shah and that? So let's start all the way back at the beginning when you were born, your parents, your siblings, and now your family. Can you just take a few minutes and tell us about that?
Well, first and foremost, again, thank you for having me on the show. You guys are doing a phenomenal job for the global community. My name is Kianor Shah. I'm a dentist. I'm an entrepreneur, a family man, and a visionary. And my story started in Tehran, Iran, when I was born, 2 days after the war broke out there, and stayed there till I was 9. A few days after the supreme leader at the time passed away, we packed up and went to Germany. I was 9. Spent my high school years in the Frankfurt area, and when it came to time to go to college, I came to Illinois, stayed there for 15 years to complete my undergraduate as well as my dental school. And in about 2011 or so, we moved from Illinois to California, and subsequently did more continuing education, more degrees and fellowships and what have you, and did an MBA in international business and got into the doctor concept as a consequence of blockchain technologies that was booming at the time in the financial sector. That's the very short of it, but I was very lucky to see some major historic events, because as soon as I got to the United States and finished undergrad, I was first year president of my dental school, and 9/11 happened. And so it's one thing after another. And in '89, when we moved to Germany, the wall shortly thereafter came down. So it was a unification process going on. And so I got to see a lot of cultures, a lot of people, having traveled more than 60 countries, getting to know people at the level of where they're coming from, and understanding cultural norms, and it's a very good thing to have in this global environment today, to be able to communicate better with others from different countries and understand the culture and where they come from.
Awesome. Do you have children?
2, one 5-year-old, one 3-year-old, and Sure, some of the white hair up here has something to do with that, but uh,
Nothing like children, and grandchildren are even funner, you know.
certainly, it's a blessing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Dr. Shah, you are a very dynamic individuals. It's very interesting to actually sitting here getting to know you a little bit more. So I want to ask you a personal questions, okay? What have you done in your life that is very interesting that you want us to know?
I started the doctor to doctor movement in 2013. I've been to many educational institutes. I've performed and excelled academically with extracurricular activities. But the one that I cherish the most, that I've dedicated the last 7 years of my career to, I intend to dedicate most of it until my time is up. But the doctor to doctor movement was a unique thing we launched in 2013. Given the environment that we find ourselves to be in today, with the challenges that patients and doctors across the world face, given that there are patients, everybody's a patient, and they all have doctors, public servants, politicians, lobbyists, big pharma, management corporations in different countries can't create a cohesive effort to solve these challenges that we face, because everything that happens throughout the supply chain ends up being extended to the patient. So we thought that creating this system of collaborating with doctors would benefit 30+ million existing doctors, as well as 8+ billion existing patients, by trimming down all the fat and essentially utilizing technology to achieve this leanness that we so seek. I would say probably my biggest accomplishment in my career has been bringing doctors together from all over the world to collaborate on given topics. And it has been a historic success thus far.
Wow.
See.
I love blockchain technology myself. I've been following it for a while, and I know there's so much that can be done with it and stuff. But let's go to hobbies. What about hobbies? Do you have any hobbies?
Given I grew up in Germany, if you're into soccer, I lifted weights all through dental school. That was a thing that stuck with me. And table tennis, don't ask me. It's something that happened in Germany. And we really got into table tennis. And that's another hobby. It's good for eye-hand coordination. It's fun.
Is that like ping pong?
Yeah,
Yeah.
ping pong.
Ping pong.
There you go.
In German, we call it Tisch tennis, so it's table tennis.
Yeah.
Ping pong, yes. But what I really like to do, and I enjoy doing, is expanding a grand vision that now is starting to take the healthcare industry by storm.
Very good, very good. So you have mentioned about doctor to doctors. Tell us a little bit about Global Summits Institute. I know I've watched your presentation. This is a place where many of us as patients, as doctors, are actually watching. If you could go into a little bit details, a bit more details about Global Summits Institute.
The premise is that doctors, medical doctors, optometrists, pharmacists, chiropractors, all have common challenges. And these common challenges are not being addressed because they're isolated in their practices and their hospitals, and they view the doctor down the street as a competitor, or they have an issue with the specialist wants to do the procedure and the general doctor wants to do it. But all of these problems create vacuums that patients suffer from. What happens to all of our fellow passive founders is that your mother, your sister, your brother, your child could be going to a doctor, not having an idea if that doctor has autonomy over the practice, or if it's a management company in the background designing ways to empty their pockets. And it happens very frequently now, especially in North America and Europe. So when Milo said, he's interested in blockchain technology, I was involved with Lendit at the beginning when they had 100 guys in San Francisco at a hotel. Now they're holding summits and conferences in 5 continents pertaining blockchain. And the concept was that you you create lean systems. In blockchain, it was borrow with a lender, all the third parties, all the surcharges and fees gone, clean, lean. Everybody gets what they want. The lender gets what they want. The borrower gets what they want. And there are no games. There are no fees. There are no, you know. And then the banks started getting worried because this is a big problem for them. So I was thinking to myself, these third parties invited themselves in the last 40 years. They have all kinds of excuses as to why they're in our supply chain. They have all kinds of justifications like we increase access to it. They don't increase access to it. Doctors increase access to it. It's a fact of the matter. And they come and they have the lobbyists and they get into the medical and dental boards and they try to influence policy. So I thought to myself, if we cut all of those third parties out, because healthcare is got a premise of being able to help patients. You have a contract as a doctor with the patient to work in their best interest. So anytime there's a third party that's standing behind you, that's a conflict between the contract that you have with the patient. It's a legitimate contract. And that is your fiduciary duty, not some fiduciary duty to another third party to push their products and services, whatever they may be. Now, the only way you can do it, you could have never done that in history, what we have pulled off. But what you can do now, given the technology that's available, that's why we're here, it is possible to eliminate all the parasites, reduce the burden on the doctors, and subsequently the doctors can pass that on to patients. And then it'll be that mother or that sister or that brother that goes into an office that has what used to be a doctor-patient relationship without seeing a different doctor every time and without being charged things that they don't know about or being influenced by some doctor that's being sent on trips by big pharma to push their products. We want to make them obsolete. On passive is going to make a lot of people obsolete. It's not a bad thing. Everything goes obsolete in life. Everything. There's nothing. There's some ideas that are so good that they fight obsolescence for years and years and years and years, and eventually they'll go obsolete. So the way you solve problems in the world today is you find the problem, and then you have to not fight the old, but create the new that will make the old go. The old has a lot of money. You know, they don't want clean energy because the coal industry is making a lot of money, right? So whatever that conflict is there. So you have to actually create something that's better, that's going to draw people to it, that's going to make that model obsolete. I certainly believe that what Unpassive has created will help us enable doctors across the entire spectrum of the healthcare industry, devoid of third-party influence. And our Unpassive colleagues may have a very detrimental role in this as we roll out our mutual vision.
Absolutely.
Wow. I love it. I mean, I love it. So are they using short contracts basically on blockchain? You put a short contract out there and
Yes. Imagine transferring all that information into the healthcare industry. The #1 industry in the world. There is more exchanges of transactions in healthcare than anywhere, including the energy sector. And it's a lucrative business for them. Smart, informed, educated, trained doctors does not serve them well. Patients that are seeing reduced prices, be it in a social system in Europe or be it in a capitalistic system, the free markets here in the US, or be it in another system in Asia, we all have common issues. And the common issues are these profiteers that have gotten a little bit too much capital under their belt, that they now are dictating to us how we should do diagnosis. Patients are coming in like, oh, does my insurance cover that? Who cares if your insurance covers that or not? They came out of a grocery store 40 years ago, and now they're indirectly dictating to us on how to diagnose the patients. We're supposed to diagnose patients on their needs, not what some board member decided they're going to pay for or not they're going to pay for. These are big problems, and it creates poor labor force, and it creates cheap products. Every time when you try to take people that love what they do and chain them to an area and dictate to them what to do, it does not lead, because they don't do what they love to do. They don't do it from their heart. They do it because they have to. And we intend to change that in such a short period of time that it'll have Darwin astonished.
I love it.
So do I mean, I love that part of it, and you know that's going to happen to me is remarkable because when you go to the doctor, if you go to the doctor, you know you don't know what they cover, you know, and it's not the doctor. I understand that. My wife went through cancer, you know, and I seen the bill come through, and it was 2.7 million was the total, and just some of the stuff was crazy, and I'm not. I had good insurance. I've been the most blessed guy in the world. Okay. But I know that I would look at it and think, man, there's got to be a better way, you know, and even myself, you know, I've been before when I get a doctor's thing and then you know, they want you to go to some other doctor and then all of a sudden they want you to do the same procedure you already had done. And it's like, well, can't you just get it from them? Whereas if it was on the blockchain or whatever, you know, that's all there for the other doctors to use and stuff like that. You know, there's just some amazing things I think that can happen with it.
It's very frustrating, Milo. You have no idea what goes on in that clinic. It's not that doctor. It's some guy
Right.
in a boardroom that's setting policies, okay, which is absurd. They need to all work under us, not the other way around. They need to work for doctors and for patients. Or, you know, guests that are coming into a party and disrupt the party are asked to leave. These guys are our guests. They're in our industry. And, you know, the fact that you have, I guarantee you 40 years ago, I'm going to make a very strong assumption. You enjoyed the relationship you had with your doctor a lot more than you do today.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I really love what you're sharing. And then you have mentioned the word on passive. On passive is the reason for us to have this show. And it's the reason for all of us sitting down and talking. So could you share with us a little bit about what you know so far? What is on passive? When did you become a non-passive founder? And how do you see on passive and Global Summits Institute working together to make changes in one person at a time?
It's a very good question. I became an on-passive founder last year on the advice of one of the top 100 doctors that we have, and we have different classes every year. This is not about superiority. It's more about bringing some brilliant minds together to impact a massive industry. What did I see in on-passive? I know that technology is now, it's not cash that's king, it's technology that's king, okay? And no matter how hard the banks and the governments tried to shut down Bitcoin, now you see where we are at today. Not gonna happen. So on passive is extremely brilliant. You take all of these components, universities, PayPal, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, you put them on the table, and as Ash told me at our meeting, you tip that table over because none of them are communicating with each other, right? Then you tip that table back and you start creating a system where it all talks to each other based on AI. It's brilliant. I mean, for what you're trying to do in the healthcare industry, what could be better than that? I mean, overnight, when this thing is launched and the doctors are integrated, the Global Summits Institute is integrated on passive, not only do we have access to some of the most well-known, respected clinicians and doctors and educators and innovators in our time, which we already do, and this year we're expanding into 4 new verticals: pharmacy, optometry, medical, and chiropractic. It's going to be a perfect marriage that's going to reach the smallest villages in the world. So if they want to, you know, continue being in this industry in time, they'll have to play by the rules, like everybody else. And the fact of the matter is, what you are creating right now I've never seen anything like it in history, and I've been in this business for many years. So I commend you. You guys are godsend, in my opinion, to what we're trying to do, and hopefully with your help and our help, we can restore the noblest of professions.
Absolutely.
Dr. Shah, that's incredible. And I mean, we've needed it for so long, but there was no way to do it before until Ash come along and starts creating this system or whatever. And so we like to say, you know, that on passive is changing the world one person at a time. And it starts with Ash Mufaro. And it goes on with this, you know, I can see as on passive members become members of, or start using these doctors from Global Summit Institute and whatever, whoever goes to own passive. Like you said, it's just a matter of time that that's going to take over, and it's going to push all the bad guys out. They have no way of staying in, but the way that they've stayed in is because they control the money, and they're able to, like you said, it's sad that they can dictate to a doctor, you got to do this, or you got to do this, or you can't do this, or you can't, when that's not the best for the thing, and it's this guy that's calling the shots.
They got us. They think they got us. Money is important. Money is a means to an end, my friend. For those that are chasing money, they'll never be happy. They'll never get what they want in life. But for those that care and take care of the other person's need, the money will come to them, and it will come in a fashion that will make them happy and make them free. So first you got to solve the other guy's problem before that's the best way of doing it. So another thing that we have realized is collaboration versus competition. All these big wigs, their outreach is limited. But when you start collaborating and you put all this kind of stuff aside, then something very grand happens. And that was the #1 policy that we have followed in our institute, is that, hey, if you're a doctor, our doors are open. Come on in. Even if you're a doctor working for them, we'll take you. Come on over. You're one of us. We are not out to compete. And what we have done in reaching over 2 million of our fellow colleagues in one event over a 45-day consecutive span is unheard of. So we know it can be achieved with technology, and we hope that you guys are going to be there, and we're going to be there for you. And subsequently, the plan is to let all of our leadership, let all of our network know what on passive is about. And I call up on the founders to bring their doctors to the table to look at top100doc.com and see how our nomination process starts. It starts always with a nomination process to get into this organization. There's no fees involved. We don't charge, you don't give $99 plaques. That's not what we're after. We're looking for brilliant minds. So if you have friends, colleagues, chiropractors, medical doctors, optometrists, bring them to us, and subsequently we'll funnel our marketing and advertising to our leadership and members across the world to begin engaging with OnPassive as we grow together.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. Dr. Shah, what was your meeting like with Mr. Ash Mufareh in Florida a few weeks ago?
I came to Ash with a request, actually 2 requests. A, we have the HEX Commission at the Global Summits Institute, which is composed of pharmacists, optometrists, and all the different doctors that come to the table once a quarter and sit down and outline all of the problems and subsequently provide solutions to them. Our biggest problem is insurance companies. Every year, they're abusing us more and more. All 6 HEX members had the same thing as part of their 5 topics that they brought up at the last HEX meeting, was insurance. So I thought to myself, okay, these insurance companies are selling packages to employers, and the employers turn around and offer it to their staff members and to their workers, to the tunes of millions and millions of people. What if we created, through OnPassive, a closed system based on cryptocurrency for doctors, where we could turn around and provide and offer these packages to governments and to big companies and say, hey, instead of buying insurance, buy our system and come in with us. We don't have regulators. We don't have games. You're not, you have a closed loop system. It's monopoly money until you cash it in, but it stays with us. And then we can turn around and start diagnosing again like we used to, and not having to listen to some person on the phone telling us what we can and cannot do. It's absurd. So certainly that would be the first request I have for Ash, is to help us create this closed loop system. And the second one was naturally, we hold global summits all year long. We hold them all across the world virtually in different organizations. Since we launched the doctor-to-doctor movement, there's over 20 projects that are outstanding, be it academic, be it administrative, be it financial. It's a 3-pronged approach. I said, Ash, you know, we're using Zoom, we're using Google Meet, we're using all of these platforms, and it creates technological problems. We just had a dream team meeting where some doctors couldn't get in because there was a limitation to the number of people that could get into the meeting. So Ash is like, okay, we can solve that problem for you. If you want to hold your educational stuff from now on with us in the future, we'll look into this for you. And he'll certainly, I'm looking forward to his upcoming proposal on the insurance solution and the whole cryptocurrency concept. I think we can pull it off. I think it's possible.
That's brilliant. That is honestly brilliant. I've thought of this, you know, with blockchain. It can solve so many problems, you know, with just by the way that you automatically pay. You know, you're automatically going to get paid, you know, and it's amazing. Well, I'll tell you what, Dr. Shah, we would love to sit here and talk with you longer, but we are running out of time, and we want to thank you so much for coming here today. We're going to do our part to get this message out to all the Own Passive founders, you know, and I think you said the key. When you can collaborate and you're not in competition against everyone, you can get a lot done. You know, you can get a whole lot done. So if the Own Passive founders join forces with the doctors, we can make it happen. And I think that's the thing, that the reason that Own Passive will change the world, you know, one person at a time, but it's changing pretty fast right now. So I want to thank you for being here today.
Absolutely, my pleasure. There's hundreds of thousands of founders. There's millions of doctors. If I were to have one message for everyone that's listening, I would say, let's join forces and write history.
Absolutely. I cannot let you go yet because I do have one more question I wanted to ask you. You know that there are doctors out there that haven't joined the Global Summit Institutes yet. And there are also many people out there that haven't joined Own Passive founders yet. So what's your word of wisdoms to those?
The word of wisdom would be, there's 8 billion people. There is an opportunity here. And you do not prosper in life by doing the same thing over and over and following the same concept. When innovation and opportunity comes along, those that jump on those opportunities that are viable opportunities, they're the ones that are going to prosper. You know, we have 500,000 founders. We have these doctors here. The technology is impeccable. It's a big opportunity, and it's not your conventional opportunity where you go and invest and there's hedge funds involved and capital investors and this and that. This gentleman came out and said, hey, I'm not greedy. I want everybody to be a founder. I don't need the $40 billion house that this one guy has with 16 rooms in it. I want my room, but I want all of the people that are with me to be in that house. It's a very unique model, and I have great respect for him. It is highly predictable that the model will succeed and the founders are going to prosper. So when an opportunity knocks, it's prudent that you're there to jump on that wagon before it's late or before things will cost you a lot more. I can't afford a Bitcoin right now anymore.
61,000, I think, or 63,000.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Should have listened at the beginning. Should have listened at the beginning.
If we all would have did that, right? But the good thing is we get a shot at this one. Hopefully.
Take my word for it. In 5 years, reflect back on this video, and if you didn't jump on as a founder, we will remind you these things were said at this time.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Shah. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're a very busy guy, but you're spending time sitting here with us. Really appreciate you. And I wanted to shout out to Dr. Bill William. It's because of you. You put such a beautiful match together. I think it's going to be a beautiful marriage. There you have it, everyone. This is Dr. Kianor Shah. So glad to have him here with us. And if you haven't plugged into julieandmilo.com, there are many stories out there that you need to hear. And if you hear this message and you haven't been with Global Summit Institute, you got to get together with Dr. Shah. And if you haven't been in On Passive as a founder, get back with the person who shared this message with you. And if you are a founder of On Passive, you know, you're holding key to a huge treasure, as you can hear. Get yourself, log into the back office and start plugging in. There's so many informations there for you. And at julieandmilo.com, we actually have a lot of playlists out there for you. First, we have the playlist about special guests, the stories about founders across the globe. And we also have a playlist, how On Passive can help with you, individual or businesses. We also have our Friday night chat where founders are getting together, sharing heart-to-heart conversations, or just having fun. There you will be able to learn the culture of On Passive. We also have a playlist that talks about On Passive daily inspiration that Curtis Davis puts together. He's actually Milo's brother. So join us at julieandmilo.com, and don't forget, check out our double surprises because we have some announcement that we made there. It's going to be really fun to have you join Julie and Milo show, the first annual Julie and Milo show cruise. So check out that video as well. As always, thank you so much for watching the Julie and Milo show. And we hope that you stay well, stay healthy, and stay blessed. And most of all, stay alive. Thank you so much for watching. Good night from Newport Coast, California.
Thank you so much.
Good night from Nashville.
Listen to the stories and how they tell when they join and how they're doing so well, telling us what it's all about today and how they are loving that own passive way. On passive, here today on passive, there's no better way. Listen to the Julie and the Milo show, so then you can be the very first to know. On passive, it's a here today. Julie and Milo show is coming your way on passive.